Hello, everyone. We are about to go live. Wanted to say hi. I know that it takes a little bit of time for our people to join in, so I wanted to give a little bit of time for that, and also just waiting for Stepha to join us too. We're super excited to host this live with her. So just hang tight as we wait for some people to join in. We are super excited for everyone to chime in, and this is going to be a short live. Give me 1 second. Stepha is requesting. So work since we're at the mercy of the technical world. Let's see. I think it should have worked. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So excited to see you. And I see like a mom with all the
Yes, I'm
craziness.
running
You're
around.
doing a live from your car, right?
Yeah, I was planning on being at home, but I have stuff to do. So I was just like, you know what? It's all good. Let's take it on the
Right.
road. So,
Me, I
hey, I
know.
see some people.
I've done a
Hi,
lot
hi,
of
Imani. Hi,
hello
Adasi.
everyone joining in. Yeah, no, that I was gonna say that I've done my fair share of meetings and stuff in the car, so I totally
Hmm.
understand. Um, so yeah, I was just saying that I was allowing like a few people to like join in and kill some time, but like maybe we could start like in a minute or two. Um, so maybe I could kick it off by like just introducing myself and who
Yes.
little Lola has is. So hi everyone, I'm Natalie Rios and I am one of the founders of Little Lola and Tots, one of the directors here. My sister and I launched the business about 4 years ago. We just celebrated our 4-year anniversary, made it through the pandemic. Yay, so far, so far. Have had to pivot a few times, but we are very committed to the work that we are doing with little ones from the beginning. We are a space that is centered around cultural exploration. So a lot of our programming is based on that, and we offer open play, we offer enrichment programs. We also have workshops for parents, which segues sort of into why Stepha and I and why we partnered, why a partnership is like important. So we're super excited to be hosting an anti-risk parenting workshop for both parents and educators. We think as educators, this is something that we all, need to talk about, and these are the types of conversations that we should be having when we're molding the little minds of little ones. So we join forces with Stepha, who is hosting and has been hosting our parenting workshops on a corporate level. So Stepha, I don't know if you want to take a few minutes to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, y'all. I'm Stepha. I am a life coach by trade, and I also have been helping Natalie and Jessica with Little Lola and their programming in the last year. And we've had some really great workshops because I focus on working with moms, and that was a question I was getting a lot, like what do I do? So my children can be better? How do we improve the next generation? So my work is often in unlearning and really facing issues up front, talking about white supremacy, talking about racism, and seeing ways that we are conditioned and accustomed to things that we may not even realize. So if you're really committed to do the work, what are some things that you can do in your life that will automatically trickle down to your little ones?
Yeah, no, and I think like it's been, I think that as people of color also, like we don't necessarily, in talking to different parents that I know, we don't really dig deep to think about even the racial biases that we carry, and how
Mhm.
that is something that is implanted in our kids. So it's sort of like shifting that narrative as well and recognizing it. So one of the important things that I think about the workshop is the fact that we do like a self-reflective sort of component, which is really big. It's not just about what books to get for your kid and to add to your library, but more about your relationship
Yeah.
with racism.
You know how I am, and you've seen me in the workshops. I'm just like the kids up to a certain point, especially when you talk about young children. The children are not the problem. And I think it's having the self-awareness to understand, like, even if your child may have said something, like, where did you go wrong, and like how you show up and what you embody. A lot of people think they can, in theory, think they're doing a great job, but what is the practice? What does that look like? And I think we saw a lot of that in 2020. Folks were bored. There was a lot going on, but there was also a pandemic. So they're just like, yes, I'm going to take on this cause, but how many have actually stayed the path? And I think just having that, like, how genuine are you? Because your children, again, they will mimic you, they will see you. What kind of community? You can talk about all the stuff, but like, what are you doing with them? What are they being exposed to, et cetera, et cetera? And I want to bring the point that you mentioned about people of color as well, and really thinking about their biases, because sometimes I think folks, because they may have their own marginalized identity, they don't necessarily think that this applies to them. And I know in one of the workshops that we did, we had a man, I believe, I can't remember where he was from. I think it was from a Hispanic country. I want to say, and but he had this great upbringing where, you know, parents work hard, and he went to private school, etc. And it wasn't until he was at Harvard, right? He got into this great school that he saw, like, holy shit, we are not the same, because he grew up in this bubble where things were provided for him, but he didn't really start realizing his own biases and how he really couldn't keep up with a certain lifestyle. So it's really understanding that where you fall in the continuum, because we all have a lot of unlearning to do. So where you fall in and what you're willing to do to unlearn that, so you don't pass that down to your children and future generation or loved ones or students that you're teaching, etc.
I couldn't have put it any better myself, because that was a perfect example. And to be honest as well, like, as a parent or educator, when you do this work, then you want to make sure that also not only are you advocating for your children, right, but you're also teaching them how to advocate for themselves. Because, you know, even in my experience, it's like what you were saying, you work hard, you get to a certain point, and it's not until you're like maybe like older where you're like, where you think, like for us, it was always like there was like an authority sort of, you know, you don't question teachers or doctors, and those teachers and doctors didn't necessarily look like us, you know what I mean? And it wasn't until you're like older that you're like, and now as an adult, I think back to certain situations and I'm like, why wasn't I able to speak up? Or why didn't I say this when I was in high school? You know, when I came across these certain situations that make me feel that made me feel a certain type of way. So it's also about empowering your children, right? Like empowering your children and being able to make sure that they can advocate for themselves. And then from an educational standpoint too, it's crazy like how sometimes we have educators, you know, one of the reasons why we decided to do the workshop, we've been hearing a lot of parents and educators sort of ask us, you know, what can we do, right? And so like, there are all these, there's certain gaps that exist, and it's sort of bridging that gap as a person that is, you know, not a person of color who is teaching maybe in an inner city school, not understanding why kids are reacting a certain way, or not wanting to go into certain, you know, career paths, or not having a certain positive, you know, association to certain, authority figures, for lack of a better word. I mean, that's a huge gap, not understanding the experience, or being able to empathize with someone that doesn't look like them. And I think like that is so important when it comes from an educational standpoint, because if you're working with these children, you know, if you're working with kids that are primarily, you know, kids of color, you should find a way to connect and to understand their experiences. So I think like this would be,
that would be, and right when you said that, I'm like, yeah, white savior syndrome, right? Like how a lot of these organizations come into certain neighborhoods and target certain demographics, but really approach them in a way that, hey, I'm going to come save you and show you, rather than being willing to sit and listen and understand the dynamics of that particular community, and then working together with them. And that happens even whether it's in urban settings, what's considered inner city or whatever, or it's in a school that's integrated, where there's a mix of parents, especially, I mean, we live in Brooklyn. We've seen that. It's infamous now that it happens. Like white parents are now in the neighborhood. They come to the school and the way that they approach things is just a forceful way. There's no understanding of what is actually needed. They often come like, well, I have good intentions, but they also have resources, and they just push forward without stepping back and saying, hey, what about all the other kids? Like, what does everybody need, and how can we actually be in community together? So that's another thing that is important to discuss when you're thinking about anti-racism. It's not that, oh, well, now we're in a diverse school. Like, how are you showing up in that space? Are you willing to take up less space? Are you willing to let somebody else lead, even if you, for whatever reason, are not sure what exactly they're going to do? Are you willing to cooperate and work with them?
Yeah, no, that's why I think like the workshop would be great for, like, you know, it makes sense when you're when you're working with like children, because this is the next generation, and sort of like this is the work that you want to continue having, and also as a person of color, you don't want for your children to hold the weight of having to teach other people. You know what I mean? It should be something that we can all learn, you know, and come together and learn. And I think like one of the great things about having a workshop with you is that you've created in the past these very safe spaces for people to have real conversations. And that is what we are looking to provide and what we're looking to host. And, you know, our workshop is coming up on Wednesday, November 17th, and it's from 4 to 6 p.m. Apart from joining the workshop, once you join, you will also receive like a lifetime access to a website of like resources that we provide, so that you can be able to have these conversations like at home and continue the conversations in your everyday, not just, you know, a one-stop shop here with Stepha, but we're looking to have this be something that you continue to work on. And we really hope that people join in, because this is important work that we need to basically, you know, work together on and collaborate, so that we can really see how we can influence, how we can think about our own relationship with racism and be able to educate our children or our students. So we're keeping it super short, and we hope that you guys check it out. We have a bunch of information. You can email us. I'm gonna actually add the link to the workshop here. Let me see if, sorry. Well, we have the link actually in our IG, and I really do appreciate, Stepha, for you to take the time to like join me on a quick live, just so that we can talk about this and people can get a better sense of what we're doing and the work that we're and all the magic that we're making together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to it. I know for folks that really want to be in that space, I always love like workshops are a space for you, like if you really want to be in it. I'm not with the, well, you know,
Yeah.
I don't, if you have to question if racism still exists, or if there is inequality or there is no equity in spaces, then maybe you just have some more research to do. But we definitely want people who are committed and want to understand like how they can be better, how they can really provide the future that they thought that would happen now, since it's not here. How can they start building that? So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
For sure. Thank you so much. So guys, check it out. The link is in our bio. Our workshop is on November 17th on Wednesday between 4 and 6 p.m. It's going to be virtual, so it'll be easy access for everyone to join. And we will follow up with some resources that will help to continue these conversations at home or in the classroom. So thank you so much, and we hope that you guys will join us. Thank you so much, Stepha.
All right.
Bye. All right. Bye.